Once again, thank you. Welcome, and thank you for coming to Mass. Thank you for showing up every week. Like I always say, show up every week in the middle of summer when it's nice out there, when we could be doing so many other things, and we prioritize God, just shows that our heart is in the right place. So thank you for coming. I love today's gospel reading. Why do I love today's gospel reading? Because today's gospel reading answers one of the questions that I have, one of the very important questions that I have. Or, let me put it the other way, helps me overcome one of the greatest challenges that I have. I did say to you before reading the gospel that you want to pay attention, because if you are like me who struggle with prayer, then today's gospel reading is for you. And I think everyone struggles with prayer. First of all, why is prayer important? And I'll always use this analogy that I often use. One thing that keeps any kind of relationship going and makes that relationship healthy, whether it's a marriage relationship, a work relationship, nothing oils a relationship like communication. If you're not communicating well in your marriage, then your marriage is not going to be healthy. And it doesn't matter what you talk about, just be talking. That's the most important thing. In counseling, we say, just talk. Well, what do we talk about? Just talk. Because the more you talk, the more you break down the walls, the more you understand each other. The more you know each other's needs, and the more you are likely to meet each other's needs. There can be a healthy relationship without communication, talking. And if Christianity is a relationship between you and a God, so it makes sense that you got to focus on communication, right? And the word for communication in a relationship with God is called prayer. So this is why prayer is not an option, it's a must-have. And so if we struggle with something that is a must-have, I think it makes sense if we put our energy into overcoming that struggle. Otherwise, we will have no relationship with God. I hear people complain that I can't hear him speak. And I say it's because you're not close to him enough. You're too far away from him. Because you're not constantly communicating. Even when he speaks, you don't understand. You don't know his voice. You don't understand his accent. It sounds strange because you're not used to him. Bishop was here, my bishop back home was here last Sunday, and I could tell from your faces some of you were struggling with him speaking because his accent was different. But his accent is Nigerian. What's the difference with mine? You have gotten used to mine. I haven't gotten better. You've just tuned your ears now that you can understand me a lot better. If they bring another African priest, it's going to take time. And it's the same. When I came here, it was hard for me to understand Canadians speak. I thought they were the fastest speaking people in the world. And then they say the same thing to me, Father, you're speaking so fast. And I said, that's how I feel too. But I realized it was not the speaking fast, it was getting used to the accent. God has an accent, like anyone does. And if you don't spend time with him, how do you understand his accent? He's speaking all the time, but we can't hear him. So prayer is essential, right? So why do we struggle with prayer? Why is it a struggle? And I can tell you, there are so many things people will say, maybe due to sin, you haven't gone to confession in a long time, lack of trust. But I want to go to the basics this morning to share with you 5 reasons why I struggle with prayer. And maybe you're going to find yourself in one of these 5 or all of the 5. The first reason why I struggle with prayer, and I think most people struggle with prayer, is that prayer can be awkward. And I give you an example. This past week, I was busy, Michelle is there, welcoming priests from other parts of the world who have said yes to come and serve in our church, in our diocese. And so, when you bring someone new, Those of you who haven't lived outside your country, you have no idea how much paperwork you have to do and all the things you have to do to get settled. So in the midst of going, poor guys, moving them from one place, like just shipping them like sheep, I said, let's take a break and eat. So we went to Montana's to eat. First of all, poor guys didn't know what to order because the menu looked strange. It's like you going to Africa and I give you a menu. They say, oh, is this food on this list? And so I had to help them to pick what to eat. And as soon as table was set, one of them, Frank is his name, said to me, Father, can you lead us in prayer? That's not Canadian. Let me tell you what I do when I go out with friends to eat in a restaurant that is filled with people that are not religious. And I know I have to pray. Watch me. This is my sign of the cross. I'm being honest this morning. If you're sitting next to me, you would not know that I'm praying. Why? It's just awkward, right? Everyone is looking at you. Let's face it. Let's be honest this morning. Prayer can be awkward, especially when you live in a culture where that is no longer Christian. You don't want to be judged, and because of that, you can't show your faith. Yet your faith tells you that when food is set before you, you got to acknowledge the one who gave you the food, and that's God, right? When I give kids, I hand them candy after Mass, watch me. If they take it and they're going to go away, I hold the basket. What are you supposed to say? And then they come back, thank you, Father. Good job. But as adults, we just want to dig into the food because it's so awkward. We don't even say thank you, Lord, for it. Prayer can be awkward. Reason number one. Reason number two, why prayer is difficult, prayer demands attention. Oh, tell me you don't struggle with this. How many times are you praying the rosary and you don't know what decade you are in? It just happened to me today. I thought I was in the 5th decade. Actually, I was in the 3rd. Why? My mind wanders. This thing called the mind, it travels to places you have never been and you will never be in for your life. You imagine things that you will never get into. Right now, I'm imagining Tom, who is now working at Co-op liquor store, that I'm going to be in the liquor store and I'll see Tom and he says to me, Father, you know, because you are my priest, you get 45% discount. Is that going to happen, Tom? What do you mean, no? Oh, I thought I could guilt you into giving me 45%. Okay, I'm not showing up there. Prayer demands attention. Why do you think in the Catholic Church, and only the Catholic Church does this, we have images and pictures? And actually we're accused of worshiping images. No. Why do we have all this? It's to help us to focus. I have a chapel in my house with paintings, pictures of Jesus and Mary. And so when I'm drifting, what do? I open my eyes, I look at the picture. What does it do? It brings my focus back on God. Prayer is difficult because it requires attention. And it's not only kids who have a short attention span. Adults do too. Very soon I'm going to lose you if I keep talking because our attention span is very short. Then the other reason why prayer is difficult, because it takes discipline. And I'll use myself as an example. 2 years ago, I wake up in the morning, the first thing is, because of where I come from and all the terrible things that happens there, the first thing I do is look at my phone, check text messages, and see if everything is okay at home. And then what happens is, if there's something that I see on that phone, then I'm on it for the next 1 hour. So I give the first hour of my day, not to God, but to my phone. And 2 years ago, thanks be to God, someone introduced me to Hello app. Now what I do is I pick the phone under my pillow in the morning, I ignore all the text messages there, I get into my Hello app, I press play, and it's playing, my rosary is playing on my speaker. Was that easy? No, it wasn't. And I still struggle. Prayer takes discipline. And if there's anything we're short of, it's not only attention, we're short of discipline. right? Especially in the summer. We lose routine. Prayer takes routine, right? There's another reason why it's difficult. Another reason why prayer is difficult is because there are more, and excuse my language, there are more fun things to do rather than to pray. I would rather turn my TV on and watch my favorite Netflix show rather than pick my rosary. Just compare the two. Picking the rosary sounds like work. Watching Netflix sounds like fun. And the truth is the Netflix show is more appealing and speaks louder than the rosary. There are more fun things to do that are begging for our attention, chasing us for our attention than to pray. And then finally, the reason why I struggle with prayer, and most people struggle with prayer, is not just sin, because you can go to confession and still struggle with prayer. It's because prayer is misunderstood. And it's the last reason that I want to dwell on this morning. Prayer is misunderstood. How do I mean? How is prayer misunderstood? This is how it is. Because when we pray, we turn the focus on ourselves rather than turning the focus on God. And actually in prayer, the focus is on God. It's like a child who is going to the father. Kevin is sitting behind there, and William wants to ask something from Kevin. The focus is on Kevin, who is the father, because he's the one that has something to give. The focus is not on William, who is asking. But we've turned it around to think that the focus of prayer is ourselves. So the time I pray, the words that I use, my disposition, and we think that's what gets prayer answered. No, it's the disposition of Kevin, who is the dad. That is what determines what William is going to get when he has a request. And so let's talk about that briefly. In today's gospel reading, the disciples watch Jesus praying, and they like the way he prays with ease, like almost like sleep. They turn around, he's quiet, and they watch, he's praying. And next minute he's chatting with them. Next minute he's praying. And they went to him, they said, hey, there's a way you pray with so much ease. Can you just teach us? And we see the benefits of it. Every time you come, you're different. Your teaching is different. You're able to heal the sick as soon as you talk to your father. Can you know, what's the trick? Give us the trick. And Jesus says, this is the trick. First of all, he teaches them what prayer is. What prayer is, what composes prayer. So he teaches them the Our Father, which is a prayer we're used to. But I'm not going to spend time on the Our Father, because we've heard hundreds of homilies on the Our Father. I want to spend time on the story Jesus told after teaching them the Our Father. What was the story? A man suddenly received a visitor at about 10 p.m. They didn't tell him they were coming. Jewish culture is like African culture. No one warns you they are coming, right? Juliana, am I right? They just show up at your door. In Africa, that's what happens. So this guy was already in bed, and his friend with his family just showed up at 10 p.m. And then he had to open the door to them and discovered he had no food, and they had been traveling, and they were hungry. And he had no food. So he went to his friend, a neighbor. He says, knocks on the door. Some friends of mine showed up at 10 p.m. I have no food, and they are hungry. Can you give me some food? Because he knows his friend has some food. And what was the friend's response? Well, my kids are already in bed. My wife is in bed. I'm in my PJs already. There is no way I'm ever going to wake up and change and bring you this food to the door. So you better come back tomorrow. And then he's watching his friend because he has a camera at his door. So he's watching his friend on the phone and hoping that the friend will go leave. And then he keeps looking. The friend is still there. And he says, I better just wake up, change, and go give him this bread so that he leaves my door, because he's just going to get there. He's going to stay there. And I don't like the word that is used in the English translation of that story. The word that is used is if the friend had to give him out of persistence of his friend. The Greek word that is used is anaia, which means he was shamed, he was guilted into doing it. And what that means is The man thought, if I wake up in the morning and I haven't given this friend of mine bread, everyone is going to find out that I'm such a jerk and nobody will like me. I will lose my friend and my reputation in the town is going to change. So I better just do it out of shame. Why did Jesus tell that story? Because Jesus was trying to make the point that God is all things, but not like the friend in the story. That when you go to God, you are asking for something that you want or you need. You don't need to cajole him. You don't need to coax him. You don't need to guilt him. You don't need to use many words to convince. He doesn't need convincing because he loves you. As soon as you open your mouth, he gives you what you need, but he doesn't give you what you want. And that's the point of Jesus. And then he gave an example. He said, as a father, if your son asks you for bread, will you give him a snake? And they said, no father does that. And he said, if you, that you are not a perfect father, how much more do you think God is going to give you? I'd like to end this homily with just giving you this. Maybe this is going to help you understand all that I'm trying to say, this analogy, just two different scenarios. Say tomorrow you have an appointment at Royal University Hospital, and you get to the lobby, and your appointment is on the 6th floor, and you need to take the elevator to get to the 6th floor, and you call the elevator. It comes after a while. You know how long it takes, and you know that wait, it feels like 2 days you're waiting there. Finally comes, and the door opens. You know how you hold back first to see if anyone is going to come out, and you look in, it's packed. No one is coming out, but there's room for you. And you're thinking, should I let it go? But if I let it go and call it again, it might come back full again. And I don't have time. I'm running late. And you get into the elevator. Just stay with me. Imagine. And you know how when you walk in, right, you're trying to avoid eyes. But at the same time, you are scanning. And then you scan through without anyone knowing you are there, and you don't see any familiar face. What do? You put your face down, and the only thing you're looking at is the numbers, right? You hear that ding. Oh, it's only 4th floor. And it's feeling like it's taking 6 years to get to this 6th floor because you are in the midst of strangers. You want to get out as soon as you can. You finish what you're doing, you go back home, and the doctor says you have to come back the next day. Again, next day, this is Tuesday. You show up in front of the same elevator, you call it. It comes again after a while. You get in like you did the previous day. You're trying to scan, and as you're getting in, someone calls. Oh, hi, Dorothy. Wow. What do? What changes? You look up, there's someone who knows me in this elevator. And then you guys start chatting almost to a point where you don't even know when you get to your floor. So stay with me. The two different scenarios. The first one, complete strangers. You didn't feel comfortable. The second one, there was someone who knew you. Prayer is getting into an elevator, and there's someone in that elevator who knows you, and he's God. Prayer is talking not to a stranger, but talking to a friend. And not just a friend, someone who has your back. Someone who has only one weakness. And what is that weakness? You are his weakness. Someone who went to the cross for you. Someone who wants to bring you joy. Someone who wants to journey with you in the midst of your difficulties. Someone who doesn't judge you. Someone who loves you even in your messiness. That is the guy in the elevator. And he's telling you to come in. Feel comfortable. Tell me your needs. I hope this analogy this morning helps to break down the fear around prayer. And I hope this week you will start this discipline of just spending time with this person who loves you. And I'm not asking you for 1 hour in the morning. I'm asking you, can you just start with 5 minutes? Just spend time with him. And why do you need to spend time with him? Because you need to hear those words from him. Because he never lies, telling you how special you are. And who else knows you other than him? And secondly, why do you need to spend that time with him? You need to hear him tell you how your week is going to go and the choices you should make so that you don't make mistakes. I hope you'll be able to pray differently this week, because Jesus is waiting in the elevator for you. Shall we bow our heads in prayer?